is to offer the strongest possible Green Party support for the universal credit removal of two-child limit bill that's just been so powerfully introduced by the Right Reverend Prelate, the Bishop of Durham. He very clearly and powerfully demonstrated that this is both an inhumane and an illogical policy, and I commend the Right Reverend Prelate for the long-term campaigning on this issue. I think it's telling today as we debate a succession of private members' bills how many of these are addressing either health or simple humanity. The next bill up is the Noble Lady Baroness Ludford's Refugee Family Reunion Bill. Where the government is failing, heading in the wrong direction, creating a hostile environment both for children and the vulnerable in the Department of Work and Pensions as well as the Home Office, your Lordship's House is trying to steer it into somewhat better direction. And I think I cannot avoid noting that there is not, as I look across to the other side of your Lordship's House, a single Tory backbencher here to defend this policy, which I think is rather telling. Now, the two-child limit is a policy targeted specifically at babies, newborn babies, the very definition of absolute innocence. It's been pernicious since it was introduced in 2017, and given the cost of living crisis that is squeezing families harder and harder by the day, it's becoming more and more pernicious every day. We know people are struggling to put food on the table, keep a roof over their head. And do we really think that people who've just had another baby in the family should be told, "We'll go down to the food bank"? That should not be government policy. Now, I'm sure the government will say, no, it's not targeted at the babies, it's targeted at the parents. But as the Right Reverend Prelate outlined, that's clearly not working, and I'm drawing on LSE research done under the title of Benefit Changes in Larger Families, and it used birth records from England and Wales from 2015 to 2019 and the annual population surveys to show that the probability of people having a third or subsequent child has reduced only 5% after the policy was introduced. And of course, the nature of any social science research is it's impossible to control for other variables. And if we think of the fact that the cost of living crisis is not actually a new thing created by the Russian attack on Ukraine, it's a long-term trend that's seen households struggling more and more every year to simply survive. I think you could easily imagine that that 5% might well have happened anyway without even the two-child policy. And that means 5,600 fewer births per year. Now, I'm about to probably be accused, as I often am, of showing a characteristic of my nation of birth, which is Australian bluntness. And I'm definitely going to display that now. Because the fact is, and the Right Reverend Prelate, in quoting the BPAS statistics, touched on this issue, but I'm going to be even blunter. 45% of the pregnancies in the UK are unplanned, as are around a third of births. Now, I believe, as an absolute foundational principle as a feminist, that people should have the right to control their own bodies. That it's a great tragedy that US women have just lost the right to have control over their own bodies. Although I note on the positive side that in Sierra Leone, it looks like they're heading in the opposite direction, the law there. But the right to control your own body also should be the right to securely, without fear, without poverty, continue a pregnancy as well, to bear and rear in decent conditions a child. So what this government policy does is it pushes people who may not wish to do it, pregnant people, to have an abortion. And I would really ask whether anyone in the Tory party believes they can defend that position. Now, the Right Reverend Prelate, I'm just about out of time, but I think we need to look at the question of having a child should not be a luxury only available to the rich. And people don't have a child because of money. And I'm going to quote from the LSE research. And this is, quote unquote, Sarah, a mother of 4 children, who said, I don't have kids to get benefits and stuff like that. I have kids because I love them and stuff like that. And surely the government should be supporting people like Sarah, not deliberately, willfully putting them into impossible financial situations.